and welcome to Mornings with Luann. Are we here? Hello?
Hello,
Are we
it's
real?
Friday.
It's Friday and it's Mornings with Luann and Tim. And pinch me, am I real?
Yes, you're real. Oh, you're real. You're a real piece of work.
Luann, it's the weekend. Sunny and something, 23, I think, is the high expected for. I didn't really ask Craig.
You know what I did? I spoke to Craig
What did he say? Am I right?
about something tonight.
What happens tonight?
Possibility of frost.
No, I just.
Cover your pumpkins.
What about my mums? My chrysanthemums? Do they survive
Why aren't
frost?
you asking about dads?
Because my father passed away. Thanks for bringing it up. No. No. The cold doesn't bother him anymore.
No, he's good. It doesn't matter really.
He's
Ever awful.
Oh no, it's not. My father had a great sense of humor.
Yes.
Listen, no frost. No. What about chrysanthemums? Hey, I just sent an email. There's an email waiting for me back from Susan Richards from New North Greenhouses because I invited her back on the show. I hope she said yes. I'll find out after the show and I check because I need to find out about shutting
What
down
to
my
do.
garden.
Yeah,
I got
how
a
to
lot of
shut her down.
I put new gardens in this year. I have new plants, so I need to know what's.
Are they annuals?
No, they're perennials.
Okay.
That's why I need to know how to shut them down.
Right.
I have a rose. No, I'm going to ask Susan about this. I have this. I'm no good with roses, Luann.
No?
No, it's a prickly matter with me. Oh, yes. No, I know.
Think of someone you love
I don't know where
when
my
you're
problems
growing them.
stem from with roses, but I got to get to the root of the problem.
Let's leave through the complaint book.
So listen, I got this rose bush and it won't frickin' flower.
It won't. Well, it takes a couple of years. Some of them, no?
I don't think it should, but now it's like some of these little spindly things have got like 3 feet high. They're crawling up inside a tree, but it's not supposed to be a clinging vine rose. It's supposed to be.
Are you sure it's a rose?
Well, yes.
How sure are you?
I've been pricked before.
We
Listen,
don't need to hear about that.
When it comes to being
how
pricked,
sure are you, though?
what?
How sure are you, though?
A rose is a rose is a rose.
Right, but if you haven't seen the flowers and it's climbing like that,
tell
maybe
by
it's
the-
a vine.
No, you can tell by the it's a rose. The root. It's a have you ever seen a rose?
Yes, I've actually gotten one or two in my whole life.
Have you?
Yes,
Have you?
I have.
I know you don't grow them. Does Jim grow them?
No, he doesn't. We don't
Well,
have
then
roses.
don't even talk to me about my roses. You know nothing.
Hydrangeas are monstrous.
Yes, I have hydrangeas.
That's my favorite flower.
I have 3 hydrangea bushes.
Now, you have to cut those.
I know you cut them back.
Right. So do you cut them in the fall or do you cut them in the spring?
No, I cut them in the fall.
See, when I had them and I was living by myself, I always cut them in the fall, in the spring.
No,
in the fall, sorry.
Oh, is that not right?
Jim cuts them in the spring.
So he lets them stay dry all winter.
Yes, he lets them be full on all winter, and then in the spring, he cuts them.
I'm going to ask my friend Susan Russell Richards
Please
from New North
ask her,
Greenhouses to
because
find
I
out
think
whether.
I'm right, and I want to beat Jim again.
My understanding
Again.
was you cut off the flower, and if it's a good thick stem, you leave that. And anything that's new, you cut down about maybe a number of inches and just to the thicker part of the stem, and that allows the plant to come back next year stronger and firmer. So you cut back the new growth part way, and then you just cut off the thicker stops.
So that you're about this from the ground, ish, depending.
I had to stand up to see. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Being a landowner.
A landowner.
How do the farmers do it?
Oh
Ooh.
my gosh, you and your acres and acres.
We have.
No wonder you're tired.
Guess who's on the show this
And
morning?
cranky. And miserable.
Rebecca Verdone.
For?
The Mill Market.
I
Talking
love
about
the Mill
farmers.
Market.
So do I.
It's so much fun there.
It is. And
When my kids come home, seriously, they don't even wait for me. They get up early in the morning on Saturday and boom.
I know.
They go. They love it.
And it's a destination spot.
It is a destination.
I've been there because I volunteered. That's a lie. I got hired when I was out of work.
You don't do anything for free. Let's be
Algoma Fall
honest.
Festival was able to hire me to go and sit and promote the festival.
Right.
So
Awesome.
last summer, while I was unemployed, they took pity on me and gave me a part-time job and I could sit and hand out flyers.
Awesome.
Well,
I bet
you
you
know.
handed out tons.
Nobody took my picture and said, "Oh, look at Murphy working for minimum wage in a market," like they did with that poor guy from the Cosby Show.
Because nobody cares about you.
Because nobody cares about me. Because I'm only a celebrity in my own mind. Don't you know who I think I am? So there I sat. Anyway, you get this. The atmosphere is so cool.
Right.
But what I noticed was people that I knew, I would see them coming through, and you see them week after week, the same people, but they'd have friends come up and visit to the cottage or whatever,
Right.
to St. Joe's. You had a cottage. They always bring them into town. They bring their guests into town and say, come and experience our
This
mill
is the
market.
thing you have to see.
It is. I feel like I'm sitting funny.
Well, you're funny looking. Burt Reynolds.
Dead.
Oh my word.
How did it happen that a guy that was
82.
a sex symbol when we were young is now a passed away senior citizen?
Yeah,
Not just a
gosh.
senior citizen. Oh,
Did
look,
so
there he is
many
driving.
awesome movies.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Him and Sally
one of his
Field.
great- and he said right up until apparently the very end that she was the love of
The love of his life. We
Yeah.
always knew that. He messed up.
He messed up, and he said that too. And
I remember when they were a couple.
yeah,
During
they were
those
so
films.
you rooted for them because they were both so well. He was hot.
Yes.
So who cares?
And she was cute.
And she was bubbly and nice, and you wanted them to work out.
Like, I don't know,
right?
do people remember the Playboy spread? Or Playgirl spread?
You know
Burt
what?
Reynolds.
I didn't remember that till I saw it on one of the entertainment
Pose
shows last
nude.
night.
He did
like
cross-
totally.
He crossed
frontal.
one leg. Well, no, you never saw his junk.
No.
He crossed one leg
Well, you know
over.
what?
I
Entertainment
know, because
Tonight had to put one of those little.
I was a
stickers
teenager when
on
that
them.
came out, and trust me, I looked. I searched. I was looking for Burt Reynolds stuff, and I couldn't find it in that picture.
Couldn't find it?
No. My mother had
Oh.
that magazine. My mother had, yes, she did. She got that. She
Awesome.
didn't buy Playgirl regularly, but the Burt Reynolds one,
was
she bought that one.
Cosmopolitan.
Oh, was it Cosmo?
It was Cosmo.
She got that regularly.
I always got
He was
Cosmo,
the
too.
first guy to take his clothes off in Cosmo.
Yes, ever. And you know what?
He was hot.
It was nice looking.
Yeah.
I have to say.
He's what
with
we
his
call-
hairy body.
We call them bears.
Bears?
Yeah.
Who calls them bears?
Gay people,
Call men.
hairy men are bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then young
love
hairy men are
bears.
cubs.
Of course they are.
And you know what I was when I was young? I was a twink.
You were a twink?
Twink, yeah.
What's a twink?
Skinny, young looking, cute.
Oh,
Yeah, twinks.
Yeah, handsome now. So from a
I'm
twink.
teaching our viewers about
So from a twink to a what? As you are
an
like a
old-
Robert
an
Redford
old-
as you age.
I'm an old bitter queen. Now that's what I am. From a twink to an old bitter queen.
Okay, twink to queen. All right, what's coming up on the show besides
Well, Rebecca
Pets of the
Verdone.
Week?
Okay. Pets of the Week.
Humane Society. Coming.
That was your old job.
That was my old job.
That was when you were
Yeah.
33 years ago.
Yes.
When Burt Reynolds was still alive and sexy. What am I saying? Oh,
Who's coming up next?
well, next is
The market.
the Mill Market. But no, then I have Suzanne Lejeune on from John Howard
Awesome.
Society. Actually, we interviewed her earlier in the week because it's their 50th anniversary for the John Howard Society.
My
And you
goodness.
better brush up on, because I'm going to be asking you trivia about who John Howard is. Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
So see if you can answer that question when we come back on Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim right after this.
Are you?
Welcome back to Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim on a beautiful Friday morning, Rebecca.
Good morning.
The sun is out. It's my friend Rebecca Verdone. Rebecca and I met, we were doing community theater. You did 3 shows together, you and me.
We did.
We did, and now you're a working mom.
I know.
You have a 2-year-old daughter
Yes, I do.
and holding down a job at the Mill Market. You're the manager there.
I am.
When did that start for you?
I started there 2018, but at the end of December last year.
So, okay, so relatively new.
Yeah.
This was your first summer as the manager.
It was my first full seasons. I'm going through the whole cycle.
And how's it been going?
It's good. It's a whole learning experience,
Oh, sure.
and every season's different because every year we have different weather. But it's
Oh.
been wonderful.
What about this year? Was it? Did you find numbers were down at all because of the heat? Were people staying away because it was so humid, or
No, not at all. More it was the spring when we had such a cold, like snowy season.
It
That
was
was hard
late.
for farmers because they had just less crops. It started later a little
Right,
bit for
the
them.
season started later.
So a very quiet season to start off the year.
In the spring.
Yes. But as the summer came, just boom of crops. So it's been very busy at Mill Market, especially all this last month. Extremely busy.
Last month, meaning August. August was very busy. That's great. I was telling Luann in the opening of the show about my experience when I was there, seeing the same people week after week. And also the people bringing their friends and their visiting friends and relatives and stuff to show them, because it really is a source of, I think it's a source of pride for the community. Do you feel, I mean, you work there obviously, but do you get what I mean?
I do, and I think people are very proud of Mill Market, and people that also like vendors there and myself. I feel very proud of Mill Market, and it is a destination spot for people in the community. We see people come down, have their coffee, meet friends, have something to eat, shop. It's nice to see, and it's nice to bring your kids down too. It's kids friendly.
Oh, is it ever kids friendly?
The Insectarium that's there in Tomaka, everyone loves it, young and old. So it's very popular, and so people come for that. And it's a real destination spot, and it's nice to see that.
And then they've utilized the outdoor space well too. I know that some community members who might have something to promote can come down and set up a stand. Sometimes you'll as you arrive at the front door, there'll be an information booth for some charity or other that's set up, or even vendors outside as well.
Yes, we always welcome people that want to come down for something like that, and we've had Treetop Adventures there.
Yes.
Even Northside Toyota has parked their cars on our lot.
Well, sure.
And yeah, just you can come and set up. There's an author there that's set up every Saturday.
An author?
Yes, Sandra Rousseau, I do believe. And
Yes.
she just sits out at the front door and she talks to people about her book and stuff. We really encourage that, even children to come and play their instruments if they want to busk. It's a good location for it, and it's a good venue for that.
So wait a second, that you just got me there with that one. What a great way to make some money in the summertime if you're a musician, a young musician, you play guitar or fiddle or whatever you want to. You could show up. Did they contact you, Rebecca, then to make arrangements to come down there and set up?
Yeah, it'd be best if they just email me hello@millmarket.ca, and to ask if they can come down. But sometimes they just come
They just set
come
up
down and ask.
And you're cool with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
I love that.
As long as it's family-friendly music.
Oh,
and
right.
and people, yeah.
Or you're not blaring stuff
Yeah,
out. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But lots of people have come down in the summer, and it's really nice.
It enhances
People
the
love it.
atmosphere.
Yes, and people love to see that, and they like to experience that and be part of it. So that's what, in my idea, Mill Market is also all about. It's just community and being open.
Am I right? There is a real connection between Mill Market and the arts community. For instance, you have artisans who are selling their wares there.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the things? So obviously you're going to go and see farmers there.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk a little bit about the produce and stuff that you can get, and it's local and it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And it's so fresh. But what about some of the other really kind of quirky things or the really unique entrepreneurial things? Can you give us some examples of what somebody might find there at Mill Market?
Well, we have different kind of vendors, seasonal vendors, which are there every day, like every Saturday and Wednesday, or just Saturday, and day vendors who come. They could just choose days when they apply, days that they want to come. So you do see a lot of knitted things and things like that.
Jewelry?
Jewelry.
I've seen a lot of local jewelry there.
like
Soaps.
things like they're beautiful, and
And they're all natural, these things.
yeah, they're all made locally, and
Even makeup and stuff, right?
Yes.
Like natural, holistic
we've
makeup,
had those in
that
the
kind
past.
of thing.
We also do a lot of handmade markets every season, so that's a really good place for artists and artisans to come and showcase their work just for an evening. It's kind of a different venue. It just becomes this kind of market like that.
An evening market kind of thing? You do that?
Yes, once a season.
I didn't know that.
Our next one's November 21st.
Oh, so this is how you manage to keep things going then into as
Yes.
fall approaches, because obviously things are going to slow down a little bit now with fall approaching, but not right yet. When do you actually see sort of a decline? When do you start to say, okay, season's kind of coming to an end?
Well, for the farmers, they stop having to pick twice a week, like about Thanksgiving and around
Oh,
the
so
end
we've
of
got
October.
another good.
Yeah. So then
Right.
their crops become ones that they just pick once a day.
Okay.
And then, so it becomes a market really for crafters and artisans.
Well-
And that's a season for it because they're coming up to Christmas and people maybe want handmade products.
And all those beautiful, like, fall things, the
Yeah.
decor, right? Listen, we have to take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll talk some more about Mill Market, and I want to talk about the actual, the food that's there, all right? So stay with us, more with Rebecca Verdone, the manager of Mill Market, right after this message. So, Rebecca, now let's talk about, are you going to stay open Wednesdays and Saturdays right through until basically the, Halloweenish kind of thing?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you will?
Yes, we will. The market runs until December 22nd. That's our
Wait,
last day.
Wednesday to Saturday?
last year we stopped running Wednesdays in November, and
Let's explain why. Because when you have a busy harvest season,
you need to be picking twice a week.
they have to harvest twice a week.
yes.
And that's why the farmers bring their stuff in on midweek, because they've got to pick.
Yeah, because when we start the season in the spring, we only are open on Saturdays.
Okay.
Until about May.
and then
we
you
start
go-
opening Wednesdays. And then during the summer and into early fall, we need to be open the 2 days for the farmers.
Right.
Because Mill Market is a farmer's market, so the farmers need to pick their vegetables and bring them in.
Right.
But as we go into November and December, it's
They're not
just-
harvesting
they don't
twice a
need to
week
be.
anymore.
They don't need to be.
Right.
So it's not required for them,
Okay.
which is nice. It's a little break for them because
For
they work
sure.
hard all week.
Oh boy, do they ever. I mean, you see them loading in there first thing in the
Yes.
morning. You know they're getting up at the crack of nothing.
Yeah, we all get there a couple hours early, and loading starts, and setting up.
But they've got
starts
to be
then.
at their farm loading
Yeah,
up their
and
stuff
before
before
that,
that
and
even.
drive in
Oh,
and-
that's what it is to be a farmer. I don't know why you do it, folks, but thanks. So now, speaking of the fact that you are a farmer's market, so that is one of the reasons why, see, there's different, I guess, what would you call it, categories for marketplaces as far as public health goes and licensing and being able to do things. So you don't, if I were somebody who had vegetables or fruit that I wanted to can, I can't do it on site, and therefore Algoma Public Health can't monitor what I'm doing, and so it makes it a little more, it makes it trickier for people who want to sell that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
certain things like that, and
And then also for the hot food service, you're limited because of that designation, right?
Yes,
But you do have hot food.
we do. We have Croatian Corner comes down, and delicious. Brings their pierogies
and their cabbage
I know.
rolls.
And they sell them frozen as there as well.
They do.
And then we also have Northern Twisted Pizza, which is delicious. And
They
she
do.
has
They do
that.
wraps and stuff too, don't they? Do they do pizza wraps? I think.
I think they've done some different things in the
It's all
past.
pizza stuff,
They'll
but it's
probably
good.
start doing soup in the fall,
oh.
so that will be really nice.
And that's all prepared on site.
Yep, and she does it all, and she uses the oven, and she uses the local. The vendors get from each other, right? They do a lot of
they
bartering
cross
from each
shop.
other. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that goes on her pizza and will go on her soup, it comes right from the market.
And right
the
across
farmers.
from her is one of my favorite spots. This all the meats, all the dried meats and stuff, the salamis and and you can sample them with the toothpicks. I love that spot. Then you have some other amazing like meat vendors here.
Yeah, a lot of our farmers do sell meat themselves, so it's not out on display. Their vegetables are, but local pork, and you can ask them about chickens. And we also have Pinocchian beef, which
Pinocchian
Hills Farm, and
Yes.
their beef is delicious.
Yeah.
And so they're there every Saturday, and they sell. Their steaks are delicious if you haven't.
So, and then now, tell me a little bit more about this evening thing. And you're going to have to come back on the show and remind me about this November
Oh,
thing.
yes.
November what?
So
21st?
November 21st, yes, we'll have our seasonal handmade market, we call it. It's a moonlight market, we call it. So we also license the event and have live music.
Come on.
And then we just change it up, and we just, it's a really, especially the November one. We do it every season, but the November one is a great venue for crafters to come, and they can fill it out. It gets very full with patrons. It's a handmade market, so people are looking for Christmas gifts and handmade gifts, and it's lovely. And you always get different people coming in or wanting to come in, so it's nice. It's a nice place especially for like new people who are starting out and want to see what it's like to sell. That's a really good place for that. And I always try to encourage, especially younger people.
Oh, you know what I saw? I remember being really impressed one time. I have this friend, Alyssa. She was in Youth Engagement Theater, and she got involved with, it might have been Algoma Family Services, the Lemonade.
Oh yeah.
Was that them? Was some young organization, some young group, I think it might have been that group from Algoma Family Services. Anyway, they set up this fresh, I'm going to spit all over you, Rebecca, because I'm talking about lemonade. I'm getting spit all. Fresh lemonade. And this was their summer thing when they did fundraising for their group. And it was like they'd squeeze the lemons right there in front of you. I was so impressed by that. And that was a young entrepreneurial thing. So that's, as you say, a great opportunity for somebody with an idea.
Yeah. And they just want to say, well, I just want to try it out. Handmade markets like that are a really good place for them to do it, because they can engage with the customer too, and then find out what works, what doesn't work, and I always try to encourage people to do that. But also people who have been doing it for a long time to come back, and there's always an array of different things from.
You have your regular vendors that are there all the time,
Yes.
all the time, and it really is a very, as you say, it's a hub. You know, and it's not just about fruit and vegetables. It's about the the bonding, the society, just the fun, getting out and the waterfront. Oh my gosh, to
Yeah.
go down there, take a walk along the water, go to Whitefish Island, whatever, then come in and shop, get all that fresh produce, go home. What a great, it's a wonderful thing to have.
It's a wonderful thing to experience.
So, the hours again, let's talk about the hours now before we
Okay.
wrap up. So, you're still open Wednesday through Saturday,
Yes.
right through until...
So our summer season ends October 13th is our
Okay.
last day. And so we're open Wednesdays noon to 4 p.m.
to
and
4.
Saturday 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
And when our season begins, the fall harvest and holiday season begins on the 17th, we'll be open.
17th of October.
Yes, we'll be open on Saturday 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But Wednesday's the same time.
Oh, noon to 4.
Yes.
Okay, so just shorter hours on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're going to come back on the show again and tell me some more when you have the different events happening, okay?
Sure.
All right. Rebecca Verdon, the manager of Mill Market, thanks for coming in on a Friday morning.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the market tomorrow.
I will.
Maybe I'll see you there.
You should come down.
And we'll be back with news from Luann right after this. Don't go anywhere. Cheers, my friend.
And welcome back to Mornings on TV with Luann and Tim. It's Friday. I know. That's all I have. That's all I need. It's Friday.
Goodbye, everybody.
Have a nice weekend.
See you Monday.
And
What?
we're still waiting on the Humane Society to come. Tim,
I have
gets
no
so
idea.
excited.
I do.
He gets so excited about Fridays.
They asked me, what's coming in today? I said, I never know what's going to walk in that
people
door.
don't understand that that's really exactly what happens. You know what I saw? I have to tell you.
What?
There's this woman who's on Twitter. She's probably like 85,
Okay.
an American woman. And she's called Pearls from Myrna because she has pearls of wisdom, right?
Oh, and her name is Myrna.
And her name's Myrna.
See how I got that?
Good for you.
Thank you. I'm not
So
just
this
another
morning, she says, and I quote,
Myrna.
"Do I have to turn this Buick around and run the country myself?" Isn't that awesome?
Yes, Myrna. The answer is
Please,
yes.
Myrna, please.
Turn the Buick around, Myrna.
I love that. Which kid did not ever hear that in their life as, you know, the parents were like,
Do I have to turn this car around? And,
if I have to stop this car.
did you go on road trips?
I did, and I went on one road trip when I was a single mom with my 3 children, and I stopped the car. And I got out of the car. And I closed the door, and I was like,
You left your kids in the car?
yes. But they could still see
Did
me,
you go
of
into like
course.
Walmart and shop?
I beat them, and then I left the car. Yeah. So they were crying, and I left the car because they were really loud. The
Yeah.
blood was everywhere. You know, it's spurting all over. The carotids like from the back seat. Yeah. It's like over my shoulder. I said, "Oh, now you're bleeding." Awesome.
yeah.
Thanks for that. Nice holiday I'm having so far. You little brat.
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't want to move into the motel room after you were done. Hey.
We.
We went on a road trip. I think we went, I remember 2. Somewhere and then Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Ooh, that's a long way.
I almost drowned. My parents, there were 5 of us. They couldn't keep track of me. Anyway, here I still am.
We went once a year, 4 kids in a car from Espanola to Kenora. 2 days.
Did they stop the car?
Oh, they stopped the car. They stopped the car in the carotid. Blood everywhere.
I get a little break now on our show.
Yes,
I'm
you
going to
do.
go and sit in the green room and have a coffee because coming up is a taped interview with my old pal Suzanne Lejambe. And Suzanne has been, I can't even believe this, the executive director of the John Howard Society for 32 years, I think
She
now.
is the John
She
Howard
is.
Society.
John Howard, by the way, was a guy who was imprisoned, and then he ended up working to improve the conditions in prisons and stuff in the 1800s. And he was captured by the French. I think that was something like, he was English. He was captured by the French and put in jail.
And then he decided.
And then when he got out, when the war ended and he got out, he's like, you know what? we need to take care of prisoners and stuff. And so he was the one about prison reform, John Howard.
Thank you, John
That
Howard.
is your history lesson for this morning, ladies and
Throw
gentlemen.
to a commercial break now.
Go to a commercial break and come back with Suzanne Lejeune. Don't go anywhere. And then Humane Society Fridays. We'll see. I call it Fur and Feather Fridays. We'll see you right after
Fur and
this.
Feather Fridays.
Yes,
I like
ma'am.
that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Happy 50th anniversary to the John Howard Society.
Thank you, Tim.
This is Suzanne Lejeune. She is the executive director of the John Howard Society for the past,
Oh, now you're going to say
are you going to say it?
38 years.
I can't even believe that.
Yes.
38 years
Yeah, I
at
was
the
10
same
when I
job.
started.
Yes, you.
Yes.
And I was 8 when
Yeah,
you started.
that's right.
Okay,
Yeah,
as long
yeah,
as we're
yeah,
clear
yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Suzanne, really 38 years. I can't imagine the
Yes.
changes you've seen in the John Howard Society over those years.
Yes. Prior to me, there was one other employee that has passed away since, Lou Mangone. He was our first employee,
Oh,
and he started 40 years ago.
40 years.
Yeah, so for our first 10 years, it was a lay branch, so it was just ran by board members that were trying to get us going. And then 10 years later, United Way funded us, our
Lou
first
came in as a
funding,
staff?
and Lou came in. And and I started a few years later.
Remarkable. Now, you refer to yourself sometimes as the best kept secret in Sault Ste. Marie,
Yes,
is that right?
yes.
Because you don't
A
have
lot of people-
you don't have a
yeah.
lot of funding to add to promote the work that you do.
Right. So the people that know us best are the ones that use our services.
Right, that
We have a
benefit
lot
from
of
the
prevention services. The primary function of the agency is prevention services for high-risk individuals. But we also work with employers to try and improve communication, problem-solving, decision-making skills, because that helps people in the workplace, keeps them working, and risk factors for criminal behavior include unemployment, low education, addictions. So all of our programs deal with trying to keep people employed, or trying to help people that need treatment for addictions, or working with people to get them employment or keep them in school.
Suzanne, I would say that housing and employment and food security are three of the major factors if someone's looking to rehabilitate or to get back on their feet again.
Or maintain.
Or maintain.
They don't have to have been in trouble with the law to deal with our agency. There's a misnomer there.
Oh, now I see now. I did not know
Many people that we work with, probably half the agency, have never been in trouble with the law, but they might be unemployed. They might be requiring more skills so that they can get a job or so that they can keep a job. And if they do that, there's less of a chance that they or their family member could become involved with the law. So our work is more around
addictions
prevention.
or any of those, or
addictions.
mental health issues,
Yes.
because a lot of mental illness stems from depression, anxiety, worrying, all of those things that come with not having a stable life.
Exactly, and many people that we work with have had trauma in their past, in their childhood, and even those that have gotten in trouble with the law. It's usually trauma-based.
So we went from a staff of 40 years ago, basically,
Yes, yes.
And now how many workers do you have?
We
with
have
you?
18 staff.
18 full-time
Yes,
staff?
yes,
And counseling services?
yes. Counseling, short-term counseling, not therapy. We don't. We actually refer out for therapy, but we do addictions counseling and then refer out for treatment. We do lots of supervision for people that have been in trouble with the law. Our bail program is involved with.
Now that's where you
that
started
program.
with the agency.
That's my first job, yes.
Yes.
24 hours
Do you
a
still
week.
have a real passion for that part of the agency?
Well, I do, because I probably know it the best because I
Right.
started there.
And now I didn't know until I read this. This is a great thing, by the way. If you happen to see any of these around, pick it up and read it. This is their annual report, and it also talks about the 50th anniversary. But I did not realize that, for instance, someone who may be trying to get out on bail, who doesn't have a surety, who doesn't have the finances, there is a program in place that the John Howard Society can sort of sponsor them, and they would report to you rather than spend their time incarcerated for an offense that they have not been convicted of yet.
Right. It's for people that have been charged and are seen by the courts as safe to live in the community.
Right, so they're not posing a threat to the community, and they're going to be saving us precious resources and money by not being in a jail
Right.
by checking in with the John Howard Society, and your employees, your staff become that sort of surety for that person.
Right, we're not a surety.
No, you're not.
No,
Okay.
we're not a surety. We're just a supervising
The judge deems that
agency.
this is sufficient.
It's a justice of the peace,
Okay.
and we don't make the decisions if the person should be in the community. We only offer supervision if the courts decide that.
All right.
And so some of the people that are coming to us, it's because they don't have family supports.
Okay.
Or because they don't have secure housing, and so we can offer them some supervision if they're going to stay at a shelter.
And tell you,
That's one of our
You
programs.
threw a number at me before about how many people you estimate are actually sitting in the prison, in jail, or in jail.
Approximately 50% of people that are in jails in the province
Yes.
are actually on remand, which is a very high number of people and a high cost to our taxpayers.
Right. Okay. Education. Okay. Job readiness. You do that
Yes.
as well.
We have a program called Options for Wellness or Options for Change. There's two different programs. It's actually funded through social services, and that assists people with problem-solving, decision-making, conflict resolution skills so that they can work from that point forward to the employment agencies that can find them employment that they'd be able to maintain. So those are people that are unemployed, and we give them skills so that when they get employment, that they could maintain that employment.
Fantastic.
Nothing to do with the criminal justice system.
Okay. And that's
Yeah,
the point
it's
you're trying to
open
make
to
is
all.
that you've got a lot of programs.
Yes.
Anger management.
Anger management is also, it can be, it's actually, that program is now on a fee-for-service basis. So
Okay.
people would call us and ask if they can come to get some better skills in managing their anger. It's not court-ordered. The people that are court-ordered would go to probation.
I see.
Our program is for people that they could be working, or they could find that they're having a problem in their relationship at home. And we have ran, for the last 25 years, anger management programs. So we have staff with the skills to give to clients that would be able to improve their ability to manage at home so that they don't get into trouble.
What about for community service hours? Do you help place people who require community service hours? You'll help find them a placement in the community to do their community service?
Those people are ordered to be, through the courts, to be on probation, and then they come to our office and they're given a certain number of hours, and we have several agencies in the community that will allow the clients to do their hours in the community as volunteers, and once they've completed their hours, then that condition of their probation has been fulfilled. So that's also as an alternative for them to going to custody.
Right.
It gives, many of the people get skills, and some of them have become employed at the agencies afterwards.
And you're also a huge resource for other agencies in the community. You act as a liaison with your clients to places
Yes.
like Algoma Family Services, Algoma Public Health, and so many more, am I right?
We do a lot of referrals. We work with the Neighborhood Resource Center. We're there every day.
Are they not doing fantastic
Yes,
work down
they are.
on Gore Street?
It's quite a great partnership
That
that's running
corner
there.
now is just so vital. You
Yes.
drive around that corner. I come down to come to work. I go
Yeah.
to Albert Street and I
Yeah.
glance to my right. People out on the park benches and sitting around eating patio. I mean,
Yeah, lots of great services that are happening through there, and it's a good place for people to stop and feel safe. Supervised, several agencies are there.
yes.
We have
You're
somebody
there.
there.
You're represented there.
Yeah, we're there a lot.
A lot.
Yes. We actually have funding through the United Way for a program called Options Navigator, and that person is located out of that office because the community sees the value of us being out in the community, so we work in the hubs. And
Front line.
we work at yes, because we go to them and it gives them a safer place where they feel it's safer to be able to ask for help. So we do referrals through all of our outreach as well as through the agency.
And I love the fact that one of the things the Neighborhood Resource Center does is it brings other people from the community into that neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, so you don't feel like you're in an area where nobody wants to go to. Make it
Right.
somewhere where everybody wants to come, and it breathes, and everybody then feels a part of the same community.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
Listen, we have to take a commercial break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk about this reunion
50th.
that's coming up.
Yes,
exactly.
that's great.
And how people can register. We'll get all that information out there, and then a little something else that's coming up in November. That's
Yes.
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So stay with us. We'll be back with more. Suzanne Lejam, Executive Director of the John Howard Society, right after this on Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim. So in the first segment, I was talking about the importance of having a roof over your head.
Yes.
And you told me during the break that housing is one of the major programs you have at the John Howard Society.
Yes,
Tell
it
me a
is.
little bit about that.
As you know, as you just said, it's really important for people to be housed in order for them to move forward in their lives. So we have 3 programs actually that work in housing supports, all funded through social services, city. One of the programs is helping people that have traditionally been homeless in the community. We assist them to get housed and to stay housed by seeing them in their home regularly, like weekly. That's for people that have been long-term homeless. Much safer if they're in their own homes. Once they are, then we offer them services and referrals to get assistance so that they can stay housed. Oftentimes addictions or mental health are what's involved when people are homeless. Another program is a shelter diversion program. So people go into both Pauline's Place and Vincent Place.
Yes.
We have an employee that's in both of those shelters every day and work with people that have come into the shelters to try to get them housing so that we can get them out of the shelters. We don't want people staying in shelters. So it's great that we have them in our community, but the goal for us is to get them into housing so that they can have their own home.
I was just talking to, is it Anne at Pauline's
yes,
Place?
at Pauline's
And she
Place.
was telling me about the apartments and the houses that they can, in the townhouses, they can move people into the
Yes.
families and stuff to help them.
Yeah. So that's one of our other programs to try. It's called Shelter Diversion.
Yeah.
And then we have a Housing Stability Bank, which is another program that is offered to people that are housed but have found themselves through different circumstances unable to pay some of their bills or their first and last month's rent. This program gives them an advance to be able to keep them housed so that people don't lose their housing. And in many of the cases, depending on their funding source, they then pay it back. It's a loan. And so they then pay it back. And it keeps them housed instead of them becoming homeless.
And when you, the other thing about self-esteem, houses, jobs,
Yes.
all of those things, when you have those things, it just makes you feel so much
Yeah.
better and
Yeah.
gives you that motivation to keep going, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there you go. The John Howard Society doing so much in our community
Yeah.
for so long.
Yes.
So let's celebrate 50 years with the people who've been there from the
Right.
beginning, right?
Yes,
You're having this
yes.
reunion. Tell me about that,
We are.
Suzanne.
Next Friday,
Which is the date.
14th of September.
There you go. Friday
Yes.
the 14th.
We have decided we're going to have a reunion for all past employees, board members, volunteers, and we're hopeful that people will see this show and give us a call or go through email, which I think it's posted.
Yes, there it is. John Howard Society. So it's johnhoward50th@gmail.com.
Yes, either way, they can send us an email or give us a call.
And there's a telephone number there too, 705-749, my glasses,
It should say
1703?
What?
What's that say?
705, 759, it
Oh,
should say.
759 is correct. All right.
Yes.
Well,
So hopefully what we'll do is get people calling us and letting us know, and then we will send them an invitation because it is a private event, free of charge for past
Completely free
employees.
for past employees, board members.
We're going to be having refreshments, food, and a cake to celebrate our 50 years. We've been doing this for the whole year since April. We've been doing something called Pay It Forward.
Yes.
And the Pay It Forward has been a part of our venture for the whole year to be able to give back to the community what they have given to us. So we give out gift cards when we see people doing good things for other people. And we're having this reunion for all the past employees. We're at the parades giving out freezies and giving out drinks because we want to be able to celebrate our year with the community.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So now, if you're watching and you happen to know somebody, perhaps,
Yes.
if not yourself, but if you know somebody who worked for or was a board member, was there a third thing?
Board, volunteer, or employee.
Even a volunteer.
All
If
the
you were a
volunteers.
volunteer, reach out to Suzanne at the John Howard Society using that email address again,
Yeah.
which is johnhoward50th@gmail.com.
Right, or call the office.
705-759-1703. All right.
Yes.
Now, because as Suzanne says, this is a private event, so you'll have to reach out to them, and then they can send you the invitation.
send them an
with all the
invitation right
details,
away.
and then you can go.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
tell me about the other thing. This is a sneak
Yes.
peek at what's coming up in
Yes.
November, right?
So November 1st, we're having Theo Fleury come to the Marconi for a dinner and to speak. We're
So
very
he's
excited about
speaking
it.
as a sexual assault victim?
He's speaking as his experience, yes.
Yes.
But he's not obviously going to give details.
No, but
Yes,
it's his
but-
experience
yes,
as a
it's-
victim?
And his life.
And a survivor?
A survivor, and the healing that he has gone through,
Yes.
and the number of people that he's assisted in healing.
Wow.
that have also gone through experiences similar
That's
to
gonna
his.
be an amazing-
I listened to him a year ago at a conference
Did you?
and said this man has to come to the zoo.
So you got him?
Yeah.
Did you bring him in? I mean, did you
Yes.
personally
Yes.
say that? Yes.
Oh yes, that's how I heard about him.
Nice work.
At this end.
That's phenomenal.
He's a very good speaker. He gives a really strong message that all people, regardless of the trauma that they've been through, can get help and can move forward because he had a lot of trauma in his life. He's written 3 books. At our event, he's going to be signing autographs as well as signing his books. He will have books available for purchase. He's very motivational to listen to, and of course the Marconi, you can never go wrong with their food.
Oh no,
So-
hello Rosetta, we love
Yes.
you. I'm going to have you back on the show
Yes,
though to
and we're
talk
gonna
about
talk a
that
little more
event.
about that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll promote that a little bit more as
Yeah.
we get closer to the event. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, happy anniversary, happy
Thank
50th
you.
anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy 30, how many?
38.
30?
Yes.
Happy 38
Yes,
years there.
I know.
Say hello to my friends there. I see them all in the picture.
These are our
Amazing.
2 offices.
Oh, yes.
Our 27 King Street has been our main office, and the one that's colored behind is the Queen Street location, which actually we run groups in that front part.
Oh, you do?
That's where we run our options groups.
And what's in the back part?
That's where all the other services happen.
So King and Queen. There you
Yeah,
go.
the reception is at the King address.
Oh, all right.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
in
you
today,
for having
Suzanne.
me. It's
Always
been
a
great.
pleasure to spend
Yes,
time with you.
thank you.
And we'll be back with more mornings with Luann and Tim right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Happy 50th
Anniversary
Humane Society Friday. I think we should call it Fur and Feathers Friday.
Oh, there we go.
Is that good?
Yeah.
This is Laura from
Hi.
the Humane Society, and this is Bugsy. Bugsy, you're guessing, is about 5 years old?
Between 3 and 5.
Between 3 and 5. And I was asking, how do you figure that out? And you said,
With usually using their teeth and their eyes.
okay.
It's a good indicator.
And he's got, look at him go. He's got really healthy teeth. You have
He
very
does.
healthy teeth for a little dog, but the eyes are a bit of an issue with Bugsy.
Yes.
You call him Bugsy because of his buggy eyes.
He's got little buggy
What's
eyes.
his breed?
Shih Tzu.
Guessing Shih Tzu or
Yep.
Shih Tzu? Maybe
Probably maybe a
something?
Shih Tzu mix, but
Okay.
you can definitely see the Shih Tzu in him.
Definitely Shih Tzu.
Bugsy's body does not produce enough tears.
Okay.
It's like an autoimmune issue. So currently he's on lubricating eye drops.
Okay.
About 3 to 4 times a day.
So you just put drops in his eyes
Yep.
and that keeps them moist because his body's not producing the moisture it needs.
Yeah, one eye only produces about 1/3 of the tears it needs, and the other eye's about half.
Okay, so 4 drops a day and obviously keeping them clean.
Yep.
And,
Properly you could groom his eye hair too, get it professionally
That'll
groomed
help.
and help keep the eye or the hair out of his eyes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there would be another treatment too if someone were to adopt Bugsy who could afford to do it. There'd be a prescription.
Yes, there is, through the vets. It's cyclosporin, it's for autoimmune deficiencies in
Okay.
pets, and it's not on a small dog, it's not that cost prohibitive.
Right, so anywhere from $16 for the drops.
Yep, and that
which
was
is about a
2 months supply.
2 months supply, or you could go and spend maybe $100 or so a month
Yeah.
or a couple months.
No more than 100.
$100, and that
Yeah.
would get you the prescription that would take care of Bugsy's eyes. And otherwise, this little guy is such a happy dog. And he was dropped off at the
He was in our night deposit box.
in the night deposit box.
No information on the poor little guy.
Now that raises a really important point.
Yes.
Luann was asking me, why do people do that? Why do people drop a dog that obviously was loved and cared for? I mean, this dog is in good health.
Yeah, and he's well behaved as well.
Doesn't bark, all right? Gets along with other dogs from what you could tell. He pouted for a week because he didn't know what he did wrong when he first arrived.
Yeah.
He thought he was being punished.
He wouldn't come up to the front of the kennel or
But
interact with us.
Now that he's acclimatized, you can see that this dog has a wonderful temperament.
Absolutely.
And so listen, when people are dropping dogs off, Luann said, why do they do that? And not say anything and not just bring the dog in?
Yeah.
Shame factor?
I think there's some embarrassment factor. There's also, I think they worry about cost, which we actually don't. We ask a $20 surrender fee for dogs,
Oh.
which help us vaccinate them, get them fixed. It's not a lot.
So if someone is desperate enough that they're going to drop a dog off at the night box and just say, I'm too embarrassed to admit that I can't care for this dog or afford to care for this dog or whatever's come up, your suggestion is at least
Every single cage we have tags on them and pens. The name of the animal,
Name.
age, any health concerns, behavior concerns.
what they like, what they don't like, what
Exactly.
you've been feeding them.
It helps the staff get to know them as well, even just a name. I mean, it helps
Even
us
just to bond.
to connect.
All right. And then the Pause for Cause, that's coming up when?
It is next Saturday.
Next Saturday, where is it taking place?
The Roberta Bondar Pavilion.
Okay.
Pledge forms are available at the shelter and other locations, and we're still selling raffle tickets as well for our...
Oh, yes, I got my raffle
I know
ticket.
you did.
All right, so listen, Laura, you're at the Humane Society all weekend?
We are, yes.
Okay, and Bugsy's available for adoption
He
as
is.
of now?
Yes, yesterday was his very first day on the adoption floor.
All right, folks, so there you go. Get a hold of Laura at the Humane Society. Thanks, as always, for being here. And
My
we'll be back to
pleasure.
say goodbye with Luann right after this.
Thank you.
Admit it, you like Bugsy.
Bugsy's cute.
There you go. Even
And he's
Luann
not
likes Bugsy.
stinky.
Not stinky? No,
No,
no.
very cute.
Hey, have a great weekend.
Thanks so much. You too. Have an awesome time.
We're gonna have a party tomorrow with the gang from the movie, and
Excellent.
yeah, and the
Sounds
weather
good.
sounds like it's gonna be nice. So we'll see you Monday morning.
Have an awesome weekend. Thanks for joining us.